Let's pick up where we left off. In the last video, we used the styles feature to generate a multi-level list after we marked certain items as headings. We're going to use those headings again to generate a table of contents. We're also going to generate a table of authorities using a new but similar kind of tool. So just as a quick review in our document, we've marked statement of facts, argument, and our point headings and conclusion as headings 1 and 2. This is the text that's going to appear in our table of contents. And we want our table of contents to appear on a page before our statement of facts and after our caption page. So if you want to just hit return a bunch of times, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and insert a page break just so I get a nice clean page. So I'm going to go to references, I'm going to go to layout, page break. Okay, and now I have a nice, neat page break here. Something to note, though, is you can see that my cursor is in the middle here, and if I go back to the home ribbon, I can see it's marked as heading 1 because I did my page break right over here. So I'm just going to change that back to normal. Normal is the font that we designated as Times New Roman in the last video. That's our default font, so I just want to make sure it's in the right font for when we generate the table of contents so it doesn't get messy. So the table of contents is just a couple of steps away. I'm going to go to the ribbon up here that says references. If you have an older Mac, you might not have this references ribbon. You would just go to insert and hit index and tables, and you'll be taken to a menu which has on it the table of contents and the table of authorities that we'll be doing later. But I'm going to access it through my ribbon tab, and I can see there's a table of contents option right here. I'm going to click on it, and I'm not going to select any of these. I'm going to select custom table of contents instead. And here's a little preview of what it's going to look like. Heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. And it's going to indent a bit, which is good. And it's in Times New Roman only because I made that the default font. If I hadn't done that, it would probably be in Arial or Calibri or whatever your default font happens to be. I'm going to take a step right now that I don't want you to take. I just want you to watch what happens so I can show you what needs to be changed. So I'm going to go ahead with all the preset formatting options from Word, and I'm going to hit OK. So all of this looks pretty good, right? We have our statement of facts, argument, we have the matching page numbers. The only issue is that we probably want claim to appear right under Barnes & Noble. It's called a hanging indent. We don't usually in legal documents like to have this part sticking out. We want it aligned better. So I'm going to hit Command Z to just undo that, and I'm going to go through the same steps again, but with a few modifications. So I'm going to hit Table of Contents, Custom Table of Contents, and now I'm going to hit another button. I'm going to select Modify. So hit Modify, and you'll see here this thing that says TOC1, TOC2, TOC3. This all aligns with our headings 1, 2, and 3. And in our table of contents right now, the only part of it that's sticking out is from our heading 2 because that's the longer sentence. Argument and conclusion, we don't have that problem with. So I'm just going to change heading 2 right now. But if you have, subpoint headings and heading 3 that are also sticking out, just follow the exact same rules with the exact same numbers I'm going to use, and that will work fine. So just make sure table of contents 2, TOC2 is selected, hit modify again, and this takes you to a menu where you could change all kinds of stuff. You could change the typeface, you could make it bold, you can do whatever you want here. But we actually want to modify it at the paragraph level. So there's actually another step you have to take. So over here where it says format, that's going to turn into a menu, and you want to select paragraph. And now from this paragraph menu, you'll see that there's this indentation option. And we're going to look at indentation special. And from special, we're going to select hanging. If you need to pause and rewind at any point, go for it. I realize this part is a lot of annoying steps, but unfortunately, this is the right way to do it. So by hanging, we want to change it now to 0.3, okay? 0.3, whatever the level is. If it's heading 1, 2, or 3, it's always going to be 0.3 hanging. So just change that over here, hit OK, hit OK, hit OK, And now finally hit OK for the last time. And we have here a nice, neat, clean table of contents that works just fine like this. Okay, so that concludes what I'm going to say about the table of contents, except we might want to include our table of contents in the table of contents. I've seen this before. It's up to you and your professor if this is what you do. But I'm just going to type out table of contents. I'm going to mark it as heading 1. And now I'm going to show you how to update the table, which is something you need to know how to do. So you just right-click inside of the table, and you hit Update Field. Now, since we actually created a new heading, we want to hit Update Entire Table. If I were just changing page numbers, I could just update the page numbers. But I want to make sure table of contents is included here. The nice thing about the table of contents is it does update to reflect any changes you make in your document. So if I switched my point headings around, if I added another one, anything like that, I just right-click and update it. It's just important to remember that you must right-click and update. It does not happen totally automatically. It does require a step from you. So I'm going to hit OK, and now I have my table of contents included.